Hi guys, this is Tablet-News.com and I'm here with a very interesting Lenovo Yoga Tab 3 Pro tablet for a full review. This is the very first Lenovo tablet that we're testing and also the first tablet that has a projector on board that we're also testing. You can see the projector right here. It's a projector with the DLP technology, and the Lenovo Yoga Tab 3 Pro was launched at IFA 2015 in Germany in September, early September last year, and it's priced at around $500 in USA. So let's talk about the design of this yoga device. It has a pretty solid build. It's massive for a 10-incher, but for good reason. It integrates a very big cylinder here that incorporates the projector and a beefy battery. It's made of metal, glass and plastic. It has a solid build and a pretty good grip. It's also very comfy to hold even for long periods of time. At its thinnest point, the thickness is an impressive 4.5 millimeters, and of course once you get to the beefier parts like the cylinder, it gets much bigger, double or even more than 4.5 millimeters. The product weighs 667 grams, which means it's 230 grams heavier than the iPad Air 2, for example. On paper it should be thinner than the iPad Air 2 minus this cylinder part, so the aesthetics and dimensions are actually quite good. I must mention that this bulbous side right here can become sort of a handle when you're holding the tablet like this in a portrait mode, or like this if you want to read a magazine or a website. The cylinder comes in very handy when you can grip it like this. Other than that, if you go to the back side, you'll see a leather imitation here. It's actually polyurethane, but very nice leather imitation in the end. You can see a lot of aluminum in this area here, some plastic on the sides, and this device comes with IP21, which means splash protection, so it's not waterproof, but if you're using it in a kitchen and a random splash of I don't know, orange juice or water on it will not harm it, at least not fatally. So let's get to the sides of the device. Up front we have this area here that integrates 4 JBL speakers, and I have to say that also at the front we find the front camera here and the bezels that are somewhere between big and small, just enough to rest your thumbs on them for a comfy video gaming experience. The front side is also not a big fingerprint magnet, which is always a good thing. Now at the back there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So first of all, we got the main camera right here, then we got the DLP projector here, and then we have this button that once pressed it triggers this special kickstand and also a rotatable mechanism for the projector. You can see that you can change its position by rotating this area. This button is also very easy to fiddle with in the dark if you want to change the position of the device. Here you find a special slot. It's actually a small lid that covers up the SIM card slot and the micro SD card slot, in case you are curious about that. I should also mention that this metal hinge allows you to put the device on some sort of nail or something and hang it in your kitchen, in your bathroom. Simply hang it while you're cooking or doing something else from this little hole here. Overall, I have to say that the design is beautiful, and the top features no design element, while the bottom also no design element. Depending on how you hold the tablet, this can be the top and the bottom, this can be the top or the bottom. And the sides, let's see what's happening on the sides. Okay, so on the left side we got the micro USB port from which the charger gets attached to. Of course, we also have the power button with a very nice LED lighting around it that lights up when being charged. Then the volume buttons and a small hole that I'm guessing is a microphone hole. While on the right side we only have the audio jack and the projector button here. So it's a comfy tablet, it's a big tablet, and it has premium materials, and it's very beautifully built. It's pleasing to the eye. It's elegant, comfy and pretty, and there are 4 modes of using it. There is the standard mode, the tablet mode. There's the let's say magazine or newspaper mode, this one here, and then we got the tilt mode, which is with the stand out like this, so you can set it up like this and watch a movie or maybe start projecting stuff. And That's about it. Those are all the modes, and of course the one hanging from the wall. So I think that's 4 regular tablet held in portrait, tilt, 3 so far, and hanging. So yes, there are 4 of them. Okay, so we're done with the design. I guess it's time to talk about the hardware, and the hardware involves, first thing, a display, 10.1 inch IPS LCD with a Quad HD resolution, and inside the slate you'll be able to find an Intel Atom X5 processor. Is the Intel Atom X5 Z8500 quad-core CPU clocked at up to 2.24 GHz. We're also getting 2 GB of LPDDR3 RAM, and the storage is 32 GB eMMC. We also have microSD, which offers us an extra 128 GB. Now we continue the specs list with the main camera, which is a 13 megapixel back unit, and the front camera, a 5 megapixel unit, and on the connectivity front there's micro USB, 4G LTE, Bluetooth 4.0, there's GPS and GLONASS, dual band Wi-Fi, ABGN supported, and the sensors include G-sensor, ambient light, and e-compass. And finally we got the 4 speakers here and the 15 lumen DLP projector. So the hardware is quite good. And now on the battery side of things, we got a combo in this cylinder here. We got a 2-cell lithium-ion unit and a 1-cell lithium polymer unit with a total capacity of 10,200 mAh, and bundled with the slate you will find a 2 ampere charger with fast charge available on the slate. On paper we are promised 49 days of standby from this slate and up to 18 hours of continuous usage. In our usual test that involves HD video playback in a loop with Wi-Fi on and brightness at 200 lux, we achieved 11 hours of playback, which is quite good, and this means we're still below the iPad Air 2 with its 11 hours and 30 minutes, below the Galaxy Tab S 8.4 with its 13 hours and 33 minutes, and below the iPad Mini 1 with its 12 hours of video playback. We did beat the Samsung Galaxy Tab S2 9.7 that has 10 hours and 45 minutes, we have 11 hours. We also beat the Galaxy Tab A 9.7 with its 10 hours and 30 minutes, and the Xiaomi Mi Pad 4th generation with its 10 hours. We also did the PC Mark test, which simulates continuous usage, and we got 8 hours and 50 minutes of work time, which is quite good. Still, it's below the huge result of the Samsung Galaxy Tab A 9.7, 13 hours and 9 minutes. At least we beat the Galaxy Tab S2 9.7 with its 7 hours and 15 minutes, and also we beat the Nokia N1 7 hours and the Asus ZenPad S 8.0 4 hours and 59 minutes. The charging is quite surprising for such a beefy tablet with such a beefy battery. Well, we only charged up in 2 hours and 42 minutes, which is just great. Still, other models charge faster, of course with smaller diagonals, like the Asus ZenPad 7.0 charges in 2 hours and 30 minutes, and the Xiaomi Mi Pad also 2 hours and 30 minutes as well. Meanwhile, this tablet manages to charge faster than the iPad Air 2, which needed 3 hours and 40 minutes, Galaxy Tab A 9.7 4 hours, and Galaxy Tab S2 9.7 4 hours and 20 minutes, and this one only 2 hours and 42 minutes, which is once again quite impressive. Of course, we got settings that are related to the battery, but don't expect anything special here. Power manager, battery saver can be set to off or on or turned automatically at a certain percentage. Basically, it reduces performance, vibrations and sync, lets you gain a bit more battery juice, and here's the background app management in a nutshell. So overall, a very good battery, no objection, and the thing I was most impressed about was the charging, obviously. However, this is not where the battery test ends, because we also had to test the projector. So after firing on the projector and using it to watch some TV shows and some movies, we achieved 5 hours and 35 minutes of continuous projector playback with the screen off and in a loop and at maximum projector brightness. So overall, that's also pretty good. You can watch about let's say half of a season of House of Cards using solely the DLP projector of the tablet. Now I'm going to talk about the acoustics. So below these little holes here, below the screen, there are 4 big front-facing JBL speakers, and we also have Dolby Atmos technology. We are resorting to Google Play Music to play the tunes, and if you go to the equalizer, it will take you straight to the Dolby Atmos dedicated app. I'm going to talk about that later on. For now, let's simply enjoy the playback. And here we go. And now some conclusions. We got an excellent surround, a very loud set of speakers. You can actually start a party with this tablet alone, and it's obvious why these speakers are so good. They complement the projector. Anyway, the bass is perfect, and the songs with voice, well, they have a fantastic voice. And now obviously I'm going to have to show you the Dolby Atmos application. Here we go, with a bunch of settings that you may find interesting. So first things first, we got the main modes here. On the left side, we got movie, music, game, voice, and custom, which pretty much speaks for itself, allowing you to customize the experience. And then we got this intelligent equalizer. So if I chose movie, the settings, as you can see, will adapt to my choice. Game, music, voice. But if I choose custom, I can play with these options. For example, I can play with the frequencies as I like. From what I know, there are 20 frequencies to tweak in this area here. It's an intelligent equalizer that's explained here, and that can be set to open, rich, focused, or manual, which once again lets you do the setting up. We got the surround virtualizer, dialogue enhancer, and volume leveler, all of them speaking for themselves. Now let's actually listen what happens when they're being used. So now it's off, now it's on. Okay, so you just heard those tweaks in real time. They're excellent settings and I had a blast using them. I have to say that the surround here is simply mind-blowing. We also use the decibel meter that we usually rely on to measure the power of the speakers, and while during real life it feels like it's a hugely powerful set of speakers, the test was actually less fantastic, so the result is still good, 84.4 decibels, but in reality it sounds like so much more. This beats the Xiaomi Mi Pad that achieved 83.3 decibels, Galaxy Tab S2 83.8 decibels, and the Asus Transformer Book T100G with its 83.2 decibels. Apparently we scored below the Nokia N1 with its 89.8 decibels, Galaxy Tab A9.7 87.6 decibels, and iPad Air 2 with its 86.3 decibels. So overall I'm very happy with the multimedia aspect of things, and now it's time to talk about the display. It's an IPS LCD, it has a diagonal of 10.1 inches, it's a Quad HD resolution in the mix, which is 2560 over 1600 pixels, we have a 16:10 aspect and 10-point multi-touch. To play videos, you have to resort to the video app, that's pretty minimalistic, and its options include, we got an option for screenshots, we got an option that feels like pop-up play, so you can do something else, like, I don't know, browse the web, write an email, while also resizing your video app. And once again, the experience is pretty minimalistic here. And the screen now, well, it's a bright screen, it has wide viewing angles, typical for an IPS. I have to say it's not very reflective, which is a good thing. The colors are a bit too vivid, almost oversaturated. The contrast is okay, and sunlight behavior is also okay. The pixels are of the RGB stripe kind, and we put them under the microscope, And this is the result, RGB stripe. And an important thing to notice here is that the left side of the screen has a different brightness compared to the right side. So the left side, this one, is brighter than the right one. If you look closely, you'll notice that even in the wallpaper here, this side is brighter, this one is less bright. And let's get back to the gallery because we have proof. So right side 368 lux units and left side 429 lux units, so the lack of consistency may be a problem here. And we chose the bigger value, the 429 lux units, to compare it with the other tablets we tested. So we surpassed the Samsung Galaxy Tab A 9.7 that had 402 lux. We beat the Nokia N1 with its 355 lux and the iPad Mini 2 with its 412 lux. We got beaten by the Nexus 7 2013 with its 500 lux. Samsung Galaxy Tab S2 9.7 had 460 lux, so superior. And finally Galaxy Tab S 8.4 432 lux, surpassed us by not by very much. The screen remains pretty bright, but it's not a constant brightness throughout the diagonal. Now the options, the special screen options, can be found in the display department. So they include brightness level, adaptive brightness, wallpaper, sleep, light effect, which is this one here, and daydream, font size when device is rotated, and finally cast screen. A pretty good display in the end, in spite of the fact that the two sides of the display have different brightnesses. And now it's time for the strong suit of the tablet, the projector. So what we're dealing with here is a rotatable projector with DLP technology. It has a 50 lumen output and it can project an image up to 70 inches in diagonal. It has a dedicated button, and I do not mean this one here, no, I mean this one here. If you press it, it starts up the projector. It's very easy. Usually you are prompted if you want to start it or not, so keep it pressed and you should trigger a window on the screen that asks you if you want to start projecting or not. You can confirm it, then you can see the image here, start the projection, and everything gets going. Then you got a projector focus, so you can actually enhance the clarity of the image so nothing gets in your way or becomes strange. Okay, other than that, I have to say that the button at the back is pretty easy to unlatch, so let's do that. The ideal position of the tablet would be something like this, with the projector going that way and projecting the image. And other things worth mentioning here is that you have to do the projection while it's dark in the room. In a well-lit room, well, there's not much to see, so you should probably use the projector at night or in full darkness with the curtains drawn. The light emitted from the projector is very bright. We tried to use the lux meter to measure it, we couldn't, and the lux meter usually measures up to 20,000 lux, so that's impressive. Aside from that start focus, there's a whole bunch of options. A good thing worth mentioning here is that you can project an image, like I'm doing right now, and keep the screen off to save juice while continuing to enjoy the content projected. Let's see the projector app. Of course, there's a dedicated app here. Here we go, projector, and the options go like this. We got cinema, pictures, documents, and story. So cinema speaks for itself. It shows you the movies on the device. Pictures, also pretty self-explanatory. Documents, useful if you're in a meeting or want to do a presentation or show some quarterly results. And then we got the story mode, which lets you create sort of a collage, a series of pictures, a video, a bit of music, and a title, and you got your presentation set up right there. Other options, we got this one here that's very interesting actually. It's called split screen projector, so you can only project one of the windows on the screen while you keep doing something else on the tablet. You have to activate multi-windows, go here, split screen, and right now, as you can see, I'm only projecting this small window here, while the rest of the screen is all mine and I can do anything I want. And the projector only shows this small space on the screen, nothing else. Okay, let's go back to the app. Projector application. Here we go. So that was the split screen view, and now this one here is a pretty basic sketching feature, allowing you to draw on the screen with several pens and colors. Nothing much. If you like doodling and sketching, it may come in handy. I don't know why it was included in the projector app, but it's here. So now let's see the settings area. So in the settings area we have options related to the brightness, including intelligent image enhancement with real-time enhancement, maintain landscape orientation, automatic screen off, which is useful if you don't want to use the juice of the battery for the screen and projector. Keystone correction is very important. Once you start projecting for the first time, you'll see that the image is the trapeze and not a rectangle. If you want to make it into a rectangle, this is the option you have to look forward to, and it's usually an automatic process. Restore projector prompt box, close projector automatically, magnify font, user guide and focus tuning, which is this one you saw before, and lets you improve the projector focus. So overall, the projector is pretty good in the dark, not during the day. It's a solid Pico projector with DLP technology, and it can be used for the casual movie watching. Keep in mind it has a 480p resolution. One important thing to mention here is that the DLP projector is not alone. It's combined with these kick-ass speakers, so it offers a nice movie watching experience. So overall, a nice combo, but keep in mind you should use it at night. If it's afternoon, you may have a problem with the sunlight. And now let's talk about the camera. So we have a 5 megapixel shooter here for selfies, and praised pretty weirdly in my book, we have the 13 megapixel camera that I totally covered with my hand very often. And the camera app itself is off to a very slow start. As you can see, I tend to have my hand here all the time, so I'm totally covering it up. Slow start of the app. Going to use this as an object that tests the camera. And now it's time to talk about the camera experience. Maybe try and hold it like this for a bit, wouldn't hurt anyone. Okay, so still adjusting, that's more like it. Okay, so I said before that it's time to analyze the 13 megapixel camera interface. On the right side we have the main capture modes. We got photo, video, panorama, smart capture, which lets you capture things like a blackboard, business card, documents, things that are usually angled. Then we got action shot that seems to trace trajectory of a movement, and then we're back to photo. Other options included here are this brightness slider, or better said exposure slider, and then we got these capture modes. We got auto, action, barcode, fireworks, landscape, night, portrait and sports. And other settings include location, picture size that can be 13 megapixels in 4:3, 9.6 megapixels in 16:9, or lower versions. Then we have a countdown timer, grid line, denoiser and storage, either internal or via the micro SD card slot. Then if you switch to video, it has its own options like location. You can film in Full HD, 720p or 480p. And then grid line, storage again, and that's it as far as the options are concerned. I have to say that the focus speed is quite okay, so I'm happy with the focus. Zoom is pretty fluid. Let's try that again. So reasonably fluid. Okay, and sadly it takes quite a long while to actually take a picture and process it. From what I noticed, if you tend to move the camera immediately after taking the shot, well, you shouldn't, you should wait a bit. And now let's actually see the gallery. It's a small gallery. It's, after all, it's a tablet, so tablets usually do not get a huge camera benchmarking treatment from us. Okay, so first things first, indoor shot number 1 is a bit blurry. Indoor shot number 2, the Christmas tree, is, I would say, just a bit better. And then we got outside in early January, and first things I noticed, well, we're dealing here with a cloudy and windy day. The colors are okay, although they're a bit over sharpened. The image is a bit artificial and over sharpened. That's what I felt about all these shots. Details are okay. The light is also okay, focus is good. There's some blur in the background if you start to zoom in. but it's a tablet in the end, so things like that are to be expected. The background is a bit washed out, sometimes the colors are okay, sometimes not. And this is a close-up that actually caught the texture of these handles pretty well. We got selfies here as well, and I have to say that the selfies came out pretty okay. Reasonable texture of the skin, and those are all the samples we took. Interesting texture of that metal of the car. So overall, it's an okay quality for a big tablet. It's a big tablet in the end. It's not on par with what 13 megapixel shooters on phones offer, that's for sure. I have to say it's actually better than the camera on the Samsung Galaxy Tablets 2, but it's below the camera of the iPad Air 2. Videos are strange because of their format. We shot videos in 3GPP format, Full HD, 15 megapixel bitrate and 30 frames per second. So video number one. Okay, let's open it up by default with video. It looks like this. It was a very windy day. I would call the quality reasonable. Colors are good. The image is a bit bluish. Stabilization and focus are decent, although if you really look closely you'll see some refocusing throughout the first and second video. And the second video, it has problems with the wind, as you can hear. It's a bit shaky. Colors are decent and the quality is pretty much okay for a very cloudy January day. I would call these cameras okay for a big tablet, and since they beat the Samsung Galaxy Tab S2, this means we have a good set of cameras. So overall the cameras are pretty good in spite of the fact that they have a bit of a weird placement and your hand may get in front of them. Now since we're also in the camera area, let's talk a bit about the photo editing. So if you choose a picture, you got options like crop, rotate, share, and of course you can also press edit, and then you'll be treated to a series of filters and frames. Okay, so that's that. It's time to analyze the performance, and performance involves temperature. So after playing the game Riptide GP2 for 15 minutes, we achieved 33.1 degrees Celsius, so the tablet does not overheat, which is always good news. Now as far as the web browsing experience goes, let's start things off by, let's say, going to Bing. Okay, so as you can see, there is no, so to say, stock web browser here, so we have to resort to good old Chrome, and let's see how long it takes to load up Tablet-News.com. As you can see, it's not exactly the fastest browser in the world, also not the slowest. We got smooth scrolling, the text is pretty well rendered, you don't even have to zoom in to be able to read everything well, and the virtual keyboard is pretty much the stock lollipop affair, pretty comfy. Now as far as the connectivity is concerned, we're getting Bluetooth 4.0, GPS, GLONASS, LTE, Wi-Fi A, BGN, and everything is covered. Well, let's say minus infrared that could have been useful to make this even more of a binge-watching TV show tablet. Now it's time for the benchmarks, and I decided to compare this model, the Lenovo Yoga Tab 3 Pro, with the iPad Air 2 and the Samsung Galaxy Tab S2 9.7. It's a battle between the Intel Atom X5 processor plus 2GB of RAM versus the Apple A8X plus 2GB of RAM and the octa-core Exynos 5433 plus 3GB of RAM. We start with a huge, and I do mean huge, result in Quadrant, where we scored 228,751 points, which basically almost multiplies the score of the Galaxy Tab S2 almost tenfold, so that's crazy. That one scores 28,089 points. Either this score is wrong or the difference is huge. In Antutu, the latest version 6.0, we had 79,684 points, while the iPad Air 2 had 62,000 and the Galaxy Tab S2 9.7 had 53,000. Next up is Nenamark with a score of 60.3 frames per second. The Galaxy Tab S2 scores here 59.6. Velamo is in the mix as well, using Chrome for the HTML5 test with a score of 40.97, also very good, while the Galaxy Tab tablet had a 37.59 score. 3D Mark was also benchmarked in the iStorm Unlimited test, giving us a score of 25,552 versus the iPad Air 2 21,763 and the Galaxy Tab S2 9.7 17,228. Next up is Geekbench 3 with a score of 1001 in the single core test and 3275 in the multi-core test. Meanwhile, the iPad Air 2 scored 1817 and 4533, beating us, and the Galaxy Tab S2 9.7 had 1254 over 4390, also surpassing us. GFX is also tested, and in the T-Rex off-screen 1080p test we scored 42 frames per second, quite good. However, the iPad Air 2 is better with 58.6 frames per second, while the Galaxy Tab S2 9.7 had 37 frames per second. We also did a speed test with very impressive results of 29 megapixel in download and 27 in upload. Meanwhile, the iPad Air 2 had 21 and 20 and the Galaxy Tab S2 26 and 27 megapixel. Things got less impressive in the browser tests, like in BrowserMark 2060. Here, the score, iPad Air 2 had 3594 and the Galaxy Tab S2 2085, so both of them surpassed our model. In SunSpider, the lower the better, and our score was, let's say, reasonable. 743 got beaten by the iPad Air 2 294 points, and meanwhile the Galaxy Tab S2 had 1059, so not very impressive in that regard. Finally, Basemark X gave us a score of 24,764 points compared to the iPad Air 2's 42,000 points and the Galaxy Tab S2's 16,000 points. Overall, the Lenovo Yoga Tab 3 Pro wins 6 out of 11 benchmarks, although when it wins, it actually scores huge results in those tests. The UI is pretty fluid, there is no lag in the interface, although occasionally I was met with freezes and the lack of responsivity from the power button. It happened to me twice or maybe 3 times during the testing. Other than that, pretty fluid interface, and of course you can basically run any game you want on this slate, including FIFA 15 Ultimate Team, New Season FIFA 16, Asphalt 8 obviously, and Riptide GP2, the good old benchmarking title. With all the details to the max, no problem whatsoever, nice reflections, nice looking water, and the Intel Atom X5 is a processor that's good for productivity, also good for gaming. If I'm not mistaken, it has been included on Acer's Predator gaming tablet. Hope I'm not mistaken, although if it's true, it's solid for gaming. Let's do a trick. Okay, so everything looks nice here, there's no problem whatsoever, so the tablet is fine when it comes to performance. Now we're in that part of the review where we talk about OS, UI and applications. I'm going to start off with the operating system. And the operating system here is Android 5.1 Lollipop. That's available in a mixed experience, and by mixed I mean part of it is stock and part of it has been tweaked by the folks of Lenovo. For example, for multitasking we get a carousel. It's pretty typical for Lollipop. We have this RAM cleaning tool, and in the drop down area you can find notifications. You can also find the quick settings that are shown like this, with connectivity options, GPS, auto rotate, projector, multi-windows, Dolby, sleep and a brightness slider. And if you keep the home screen pressed, you'll see a bunch of widgets. Most of them should be stock, some of them should be typical for Lenovo. And here you can see the Netflix widget. Of course, you can also change wallpaper here and go to the settings area. Speaking of settings, let's give them a go. So we got the usual connectivity options: display, projector, sound notification, storage, apps and users. You can create 1 more or 2 more users. We got location options, notification center options, including ones that have to do with displaying the network speed, screenshot notification and today's schedule. Security is also here with encryption options, counts, language and input, date and time, and finally multi-window. So if you activate this, you can see this symbol here, and you can work with multiple windows at the same time. So for example, I may be watching a video, and at the same time I'm watching the video, I can scroll to a list of documents, pictures, maybe even prepare an email and add even more apps in the mix. So that's the multi-window feature in a nutshell for extra multitasking and extra productivity. Then schedule power off, power manager, and smart sidebar, which is basically an extra, let's say, floating widget with extra options. So it feels what mode your tablet is in, it feels if it's hanging, if it's in tilt mode, stand mode, shows you the last seen picture. We got a smart switch feature that lets you enter the appropriate mode for reading, watching videos, and the proper audio mode, or you can opt for the manual mode and choose your own vibrant, standard, or reading display. In the reading mode, the screen becomes a bit more yellowish, so less white and less prone to hurt your eyes. Audio option, music, movie and game, projector on or off, and adjust focus. And finally, for shortcuts, that's the option I just mentioned, which is smart sidebar that can be set to on or off. So those are the features available on the device, and now it's time to handle the pre-installed applications. I have to inform you there is not much bloatware here, and that's good news. We got calculator, calendar, camera, Chrome, clock, contacts. There is Dolby, Drive, email, Evernote, file browser that looks like this. Pretty nice look, I have to say, very minimalistic. Then gallery, there is Gmail, Google Settings, Hangouts, Lenovo eFrame. Basically turns your tablet into a photo frame and it keeps playing pictures like this, maybe with or without an acoustic background, can't know yet. And then we got Lenovo Sketchpad, which is basically a tool, a widget floating on the screen, letting you draw on any surface, adding a background that can be beige or black, reversing your commands, choosing colors and choosing pen size. Very basic option, so don't expect this to be an alternative to the Samsung S Note. Moving forward, we got Maps, McAfee Security, Messaging, then Netflix, which is pre-installed, Photos, Play Games, Play Music, Play Store, Projector, Settings, Share It. Share It lets you share stuff in the same Wi-Fi network to phones, PCs and laptops. Sound Recorder, Sync It HD, allows you to sync your contacts and back stuff up. We got User Guide, Video, Voice Search, WPS Office, allowing you to open up your PowerPoints, Excel files, and finally your Word files if need be. Then Yoga Tab 3 Pro, which is basically a tutorial and a descriptive clip about your tablet. And finally YouTube, which is also pre-installed, so not much bloatware, and that's good news. Okay, so now it's time for the verdict. We start off with the pros. This model has a solid build. It's an elegant and comfy tablet. It has 4 use modes, including hang, tilt, stand, and finally the standard tablet. We got a great battery here. It's able to provide you with about 11 hours of video playback on the screen and somewhere between 5 and 6 hours of continuous projector playback, which is nothing to be disappointed about since it's excellent. Then we got a fast charging, which is something you don't see on tablets every day, particularly a tablet with such a huge battery. Also on the good side, great acoustics and those great Dolby Atmos options, which once again you will not find on any other tablet that I know of. And of course the star of the show is obviously this rotatable projector with DLP technology, great brightness but more proper to use during the nighttime or with the shades drawn. So nice projector, an okay camera, good performance, 4 use modes, solid, elegant, comfy and great battery. Now on the cons side, because we also have cons, not only pros, you'll be happy to know that there are very few cons here. So the screen could be brighter, the brightness could be more consistent, at least it shouldn't variate between the right and the left side of the screen. And then I have to say that the projector is weak during the day. When it comes to using it, when it's full sun outside, well, I wouldn't recommend doing that. You should be better off using it during the nighttime. The hand gets in front of the front camera and in front of the back camera. They don't have a very fortunate placement. And finally, not enough productivity features. That's what I feel that is lacking here. Maybe some extra, I don't know, subscriptions, extra apps, maybe a more professional drawing app and note-taking app could be required. In the end, this model is perfect for multimedia consumption, for binge watching Netflix, that's for sure. Fast charging is one of its strongest suits. The projector is also welcome and the speakers are perfect. So simply perfect speakers. It's comfy, comfier than expected, and even comfy in portrait mode, not only landscape. So you hold it like this, it's excellently comfy. So that's that. Okay, other things worth mentioning is that this is an ideal tablet if you like to watch a lot of TV shows, maybe project them in your living room for your friends to see. And in spite of the lack of productivity features, you can achieve some productivity. You just have to download Word, a few more apps, and you're all set. So overall, I have to say it's the best projector-based tablet I've seen lately. It's one of Lenovo's hits. It's the first Lenovo device we test, and we hope to see many more in the future. Frankly speaking, I cannot tell you what they can improve about this model because it's already very good. One aspect could be the screen though. This is Tablet-News.com and you just watched the review of the Lenovo Yoga Tab 3 Pro. Bye bye.